Hi, my name is Ethan, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a Salesforce certified admin, and I also work as a Salesforce admin at my job. Today, we're going to be creating a user record. So first things first, you need to be in Setup, and then from Setup and Quick Find, you can just search User and select Users here. Then once on this screen, we're going to create a new user, and this will create a single new user record. So we're going to create a new user. We're going to call this user Tina Woods. Now, when you tab down to the alias, it's going to give you the auto-populated with the first initial and the first four letters of the last name. This field is completely customizable, and depending on where you're working, you may be required to enter more or less characters for the user record, especially with common names. So you may have to adjust that, and it has to be unique for your org. So you can't have 5 Woods in your org like this. You would have to change it to something else, and maybe you'd have to put a 2 in that case. So we're going to tab down and we're going to put in an email. So we're going to put in tina.woods@yahoo with 3 O's.com. You don't have to put in a correct email address. The org will take it and let it set it up, and you would set this person up with their actual email address. So we're going to tab down. This username, it auto-populates, and so with the nickname. For the username, it has to be in the form of an email, but you can actually change this to a separate email address if you wanted to. It's completely customizable. So that instead of Tina was at yahoo.com, maybe this user has a Gmail that they would like to use as their username for whatever reason. You do that. And the nickname, you can change it to whatever you like, depending on the work. They may have requirements on that. So we'll put Tina Woods as the nickname. Now, title. Tina is the CFO. This is not a required field, but definitely recommended, especially if you have a large org with a lot of users. It helps kind of keep track of everybody. Then you have the company, department, division. You can enter those if you would like, but in this scenario, we are not. Then over here on the right, we have roles, user license, and profile. So for the role, we're going to select CFO. That's her title. That's her role. Now you'll notice these fields are available to select, but if you change the user license, if it was going to be an identity user, not all of these are available to select. Like you can deselect this to load lightning pages while scrolling, but I would leave that selected. But in this case, this person is going to be on the Salesforce platform and be allowed to run flows. We'll like that to be a flow user. Then we're going to scroll down, and these fields are available to fill out if you would like: the call center, phone number, extension, fax, or mobile. In this scenario, we're not using those fields, but I am going to enter in a employee ID. This is great, especially for large orgs, to keep track of if a user leaves or is terminated. And especially with common names too, if you have a lot of Tina Allens or Tina Woods, you could easily track by their employee number because that is unique, but it's not a required field. If a mailing address is required, you can enter that information here. And this is for single sign-on. So if your org is set up for single sign-on or SSO, you would enter in the information in this field here. And this is very important, setting up the default locale settings here, the time zone. So if you have a user in New York and it's set to LA, all their information will be timestamped with LA time. And when they create new records, it'll show at LA time as well. It can be very confusing. So if you need to, you can change that to New York or Central Time Zone, Chicago, whatever time zone this user is in. And then down here, if approver settings, if you have approval set up, this is where you're going to set who this person's approval is going to be sent to, their manager. I don't have the approval set up in this org, so we're going to leave that blank. And then right here, if you leave this checked, it's going to create a new password and email the user at the email address that you entered up here. And they'll be able to, it'll notify them of their user account creation. They'll be able to set up their username password. So a tip from a admin is if you're setting up a user in advance and you don't want them to receive this email, you can uncheck this and they will not receive that email. So looks like we've entered in all the information we are required to, and we're going to hit save. So now we're taken to the new Tina Woods user record. So let's take a look at what we got here. So if you want to edit it, you can go back in and edit it, and it'll take you to the same screen we were in. And if you want to reset the user's password, so if you set this user up in advance and you want to generate a password for this user, you could hit the reset password, and this will generate a new password for them, and it'll email them immediately. And if you need to freeze a user record for whatever reason, someone like is gone for the, like lost their username password, and they're not going to be able to reset it, or this, that, and the other, whatever reason, you can actually freeze this account until you unfreeze it. They will not be able to log in. So that could be a powerful tool if you need it. And then down here, this is where you're going to add permission sets, which is very important. Like if you wanted to update all contacts permission set, you can add that here and hit save. And when you scroll down, that permission set's been added. And most time when you create new users, you're going to add permission sets to them. This is where you add permission set groups, which is basically a collection of individual permission sets. In my other video, I showed you how to create a permission set group, and this is the standard user permission set group that we created. And you can add that here. And if you want to check out that video, just check out the video in the description and it will be there. So I added the standard user permission set group and the update all contacts permission set group to this user. There's also some other things. You can see the managers and role and hierarchy. My user and Jimmy here are above this person as the CEO in that role. Now you can see install mobile apps. You can look at the login history if the user's been logging in. That's very crucial when you're doing troubleshooting. But yeah, that's the basics of setting up a new user in Salesforce. If you found this video informational, helpful, please leave me a like, comment, subscribe, and be on the lookout for more videos in the future.